how much or if the starters will play on Friday?
Yeah, they won't play. Most of them will not play. We're going to ramp it up pretty good today in practice and leave that opportunity Friday night for some of the twos and the threes there to get in and get a chance to show us again what they have.
It makes, they got pretty good work starters in the second game. Did you just feel like, why not make that, play them there, and then if somebody tweaked an ankle in week 3, they wouldn't have, they wouldn't have as much time to get help.
Yeah, that was part of it, among some other things that were factored into that, and want to give us a chance to thoroughly evaluate through 3 preseason games some of the other guys on the roster as well.
Safe to say that Josh Allen is part of that most of the starters.
Correct. Yeah.
Last year, Josh was extremely effective running on design runs and short yardage runs. I mean, obviously, you're going to do things that work. Why not? But I mean, do you think would you like in a perfect world to see maybe a little less Josh running?
Well, I mean, I think you've got to be smart, right? And we have to be smart. At the same time, that's a piece of his game. Don't want to take away his instincts. So, we've got to be smart, and he needs to continue to play smart moving forward.
Sean, there was some budget debate yesterday. Josh Allen thinks that Ken Dorsey is a psychopath. Ken Dorsey disagrees. Would you like to weigh in?
No, I'm not. I'm not going to get in the middle of that. I think it sounds like it was good, fun banter, and maybe that continues. And so I'll just stay on the sidelines on that one.
Is it true that there are threatened fines against coaches if they get unsportsmanlike conduct penalties? Josh said that you threaten penalties against coaches with fines. Is there any truth to that?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, at the end of the day, it's there's motivation and fear, right? So it's just about trying to respect the officials, and they've got a job to do. They have families at home just like we do, and they're trying to do a very difficult job at a high level. So just respecting the officials in the game.
Sean, when you were at DC, did you ever call from the booth?
Yes. Yeah.
What was that experience like for you versus being on the field? How did you work through that?
Yeah, so I started on the field and then moved up to the booth. And at first it was an adjustment that I wasn't really comfortable with, but the more I was up there, the more comfortable I got with it and saw the advantages. And I think it's all personal preference, but I think there is some huge advantages to being up top and seeing what you can see up there versus on the field at the field level.
I found it interesting what Ken said was how he had to kind of go through the experience of game 1. Things weren't going right and having to deal with that from the top versus on the field, and then adjusting, and then things went a lot better the next week, and also dealing with that experience. There's got to be something said for that and how you have to control your emotions in each environment.
Yeah, that environment up top is a lot like a library where it's very static environment, quiet, and everyone's trying to focus and do their part. And one of the challenges that I experience as well is what you said, Sal, is when things aren't going well and you want to be around the guys and the coaches and in particular the players and look them in the eye, and whether it's settle them down or motivate them a little bit, inspire them, and then make the necessary changes. It's a challenge, but that's where you have to trust, if you're up there, the lieutenants, so to speak, that you have on the field that are going to make those adjustments for you.
You mentioned it kind of how is part of that having peace in the chaos of being down on the sideline a little bit. You mentioned how it's a little bit like a library. When you're down on the sideline, for almost all your career, is part of that having peace being down there?
Yeah, I mean that's a gift that comes through experience for the most part, and again, the biggest I think challenge of being down there is you never want to get in Monday morning and say, I wish I would have saw that during the game and made that adjustment. And so that's where if you're down there, you better be able to see really well, and you better be able to trust the people that are upstairs that they have good eyes for you as well.
How much has Bobby Hart improved from
immensely
this year?
Yeah, immensely. He's done a phenomenal job. Really since he arrived here, I've lost track of how many years it's been now, but he's a veteran player that has moved around a little bit from team to team, but I think he's played his best ball when he's been here, and Certainly appreciate his attitude. He's got a great attitude. No job too small, no job too big type of approach, and you see that in his play.
Sean, what's your message to the guys that will probably get a lot of run on Friday, understanding the magnitude of maybe what their performance means to their future?
Yeah, we talked about that a little bit the other day, John, which is when we really turned the page from the Broncos and then on to this week was really just go for it. You've got, you've already played a play in the NFL, which is a lot of people's dreams, and you've accomplished that, and they haven't, and so you've been a success, and that'll continue. So, it's easy to kind of count numbers this time of year and think, hey, the script has already been written, when really all it takes is one team, and why not just go for it and keep pushing.
Coach, knowing Dawson Knox is a bit of a unique circumstance in terms of preseason exposure due to his family situation and how you work things through the first preseason game, does he fall into a different category for Friday, or do you feel you've gotten enough out of him in the practice setting?
Yeah, he's going to be with the starters, so you'll see him out there today, like the other starters are participating. So, yeah, he's with them, and I know where you're coming from. There's not just Dawson. There's a couple other players who really haven't played or practiced a lot, and Dawson's practiced a lot, but some other ones who haven't practiced a lot that, man, we need to make sure that they're game ready, because there is a difference between practice and a game, and if you haven't practiced a lot, there's a lot of things that can get on top of you fast if you're not ready.
What kind of an impact have you seen Aaron Kromer make that offensive line?
Yeah, I think he's got a good rapport with the players. Certainly is very knowledgeable of the position and the positions he's trying to get his players into, which I can appreciate from a position coach standpoint. Of he really breaks it down to a part and then whole type of approach, which I think is great. And he's studied it for years, and you can see the detail and the time he has spent in how he teaches, which is impressive.
Sean, I heard you on the Pardon My Take podcast. Do you expect to hear from Dan Campbell?
Well, that was a lot of fun. I hope those guys know it was all in good fun. Listen, we're doing some pretty serious jobs here, and that was a good break for me to just kind of let my guard down a little bit and just go with the flow and be in that environment for a few minutes there. And now those guys Dan and Vrabes are great people, great coaches, and hopefully they don't take it out of context there. But it was fun to be in that environment, just share some thoughts there and go with the flow.
Last week before the Denver game, or 2 weeks ago, I'm sorry, before the Indianapolis game, you practiced your starters really hard leading up to it and then sat them. Is that kind of what you're going to do today?
Yeah.
Give these guys the ones a really tough physical practice, and then as if it was a game,
Right.
more controlled?
Yeah, it'll be more controlled than that, but we'll be thud today and not live like we were a few weeks ago, Steve. But yeah, intense, ones versus ones, put us in different situations and let us play the game, albeit on the practice field, and coaches will be calling it from the sideline. So it'll be a good exchange there.